G'day folks, I'm Mitchell Dale. You're watching Rugby League Week TV. I'm joined by Rocco Luca and Martin Lenihan. Thanks for joining us, boys. Now, tonight, we will know the minor premiers. Manly, it's in their own hands. They beat the Cowboys tonight. It's all theirs.
It's where you want to be, isn't it? Basically controlling your own destiny. They've had a fantastic season. Manly unbelievably got out of jail last weekend against Penrith. Just reminded me of that game against Parramatta as well. If you look back over the season, mind you, every team can look back and say they got out of jail, a couple of lucky games. They are an unbelievable big game team. They won't be too worried about going up to Townsville. They get the Cowboys coming off what you'd have to say was a pretty lame effort. A lot of complacency there, obviously, against Cronulla, and a bit of flu going through the team as well. That's
the other thing that Graham Eady actually points out in Rugby League Week this week is the culture of the club is that backs to the wall mentality, and their backs are against the wall this weekend. They've lost Jamie Buhrer, now they've lost Matt Ballin as well. Big shoes to fill.
No doubt. Matt Ballin is a huge part of that team, Mitch. He's not just a rotating hooker, he's an 80-minute hooker, as we've seen throughout his entire career. He's in fact played, he's averaged 78 minutes this year, and he's played every minute of every game bar 4. So, I mean, last week he came off, but that's a huge blow for that Manly side.
He just tackles up a storm, shores up in the middle. Not as creative as, say, a Jake Friend or some of those guys, but he doesn't need to be. They've got the creative players around him. He just is absolutely rock solid in the middle. They've got problems now, haven't they, in the hooking stakes, boys?
Well, that's right, and you look at when he comes off, on the few occasions that he does come off, usually it's Jamie Buhrer who slots in there. So now you look at it, it's probably up to Jaden Hodges. Maybe Tom Simons might slip into the dummy half role for a little bit. It's certainly not the punch that you're going to get out of Ballin and Buhrer. So look, we've talked all year about, well, probably for the last few years, about Manly's depth and their lack of, how they cover it. Never before has their depth been tested quite like this, because you've got no Glenn Stewart, you've got no Ballin, you've got no Buhrer, you've got Anthony Watmoe playing with a busted bicep. Brenton Lawrence was out last week, he's back this week, but there are some issues there.
Oh, I think, boys, if they can win up in Townsville, it's just going to be a huge effort, and they'll deserve the minor premiership. If they can win this game and finish on top, lazy 100 grand, probably means nothing to them. I think what's more important is the top team probably going to end up playing Penrith, so it's a huge, I think a huge chance there to get a Penrith team with a few injuries themselves. So, but having said all that, I don't think Manly for me can get the job done. I know the Cowboys had a pretty ordinary Monday, but different game this week. They'll be up for it. Thurston will be all over it. I reckon they get the money.
Yeah, look, I'm a bit the same. I think the area that the Cowboys will get them, we talk so much about Thurston and Michael Morgan this year, the area where the Cowboys will get them will be in the forwards. I think Matt Scott playing great footy as always, Jason Taumalolo having by far his best season, Tarek Sims, best year he's had since he's had those horrible leg injuries, so it's all starting to click in the forwards.
Yeah, no doubt, and I think we forget about JT as well. He's having a Dally M-worthy season. He wasn't at 100% last week, but he pulled that game out of the hat there. And look, Cowboys will have too much firepower at home as well. So
Cowboys for you two, Cowboys for me. Speaking of the Cowboys, though, I have a tip from the Mole. He tells me Jason Taumalolo. We mentioned what a wrecking ball he's been. Well, people are taking interest, in particular the Queensland Reds. They're hungry to go after some league players, and the word that the Mole tells me is that Jason Taumalolo is in their sights.
Geez, they're going to have a pretty hot team if they got hold of him, aren't they? With James O'Connor coming back, certain Carmichael Hunt. They're building a pretty formidable team. Look, I think a bit of a worry, I guess, for rugby league losing some guys like that. You know, Queensland Reds obviously got a bit of coin to throw around. He would be an absolute sensation. Taumalolo, he got across the line in about 60 seconds on Monday night. He's just a beast of a player. He's big and strong, and yeah, I think the Cowboys would be moving heaven and earth to try and keep him.
Yeah, well, tonight he's a Cowboy. That spells bad news for Manly. We all reckon it's going to be the Cowboys spoiling their minor premiership tilt. That's it from us at Rugby League Week TV. Enjoy the game tonight.